Everyone has to do their bit to facilitate change, including SMEs. However, SMEs have the advantage of being flexible and more hands-on. They want to do business, and in doing so sustainably, they can contribute to societal change. To achieve these SDGs, eco-inclusiveness won't be a box to tick for an SME, but a necessary prerequisite. A common thread of our economically viable organization. These transformations aren't easy for SMEs. I think Arab was already referring to it, especially those in low and middle income countries. However, it is our duty to support their innovative ideas, assist in their business development, and generate facilitating environments so that SMEs can transform, grow, and become agents of change. All of them crucial contributors to the Agenda 2030. I wish you all fruitful discussions and exchanges this afternoon around these three key transformations. I hope this event will create new insights and facilitate new contexts and ideas, which can strengthen the role of SMEs in achieving those SDGs. I try to stay within my limits, so Arab, please continue. Thank you all and welcome.
Thank you again for your kind support and welcome. Let's move to next introduction from the minister in Zambia. It's a little bit more than what we asked for, but it's a recorded message, and it's an important one coming from Africa, and it's one of the countries that benefited a lot from it. Should you play the video or should I do it? I do it, okay.
The ministers and heads of delegations present from member states, senior government officials and diplomats from member states present, representatives from the United Nations present, as well as all development partners and organizers present, the host country for according us the opportunity to have the meeting in their sovereign country. Allow me to sincerely ride on the protocols already observed. Ladies and gentlemen, Zambia hosts biodiversity in the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources. Biodiversity loss poses substantial threats to economic growth in Zambia and the well-being of its citizens. Zambians already feel the impact of climate change as the increased frequency and intensity of droughts and occasional dry spells, as well as flash floods, along with high temperatures, negatively impacts agricultural production, fisheries, wildlife, and forests, which provide food, income, fuel, and other key resources. Climate change is also a worsening biodiversity loss that is further reducing crop and livestock productivity. For example, due to the decline of pollinator insects. The fisheries sector is also suffering from biodiversity loss, with a substantial decrease in highly consumable fish species such as breams and sardines in Lake Bangowero. Main drivers of biodiversity loss include deforestation, overexploitation of natural resources, the expansion of agriculture and settlement areas, as well as spread of invasive species and diseases. The government of Zambia is determined to take urgent action to mitigate and adapt to the effects of climate change and to conserve biodiversity to ensure a sustainable future and prosperity for the Zambian people. In its nationally determined contributions, NDC, Zambia is committed to reduce its greenhouse gas emissions by 47% with substantial international support compared to 2010 levels. Zambia's national biodiversity strategy and action plan prioritizes biodiversity management programs, among other socio-economic and environmental issues. Commitments in both areas, climate action and biodiversity conservation, envisage a strong involvement of the private sector and the mobilization of private investments. Micro, small and medium-sized enterprises play a significant role in the Zambian economy, contributing about 70% of gross domestic product, GDP, and 88% of employment. At the same time, green micro, small, and medium-sized enterprises bear significant potential to contribute to climate change, adaptation, and mitigation, as well as biodiversity conservation, due to their high potential to innovate. There are good practical examples of green enterprises in Zambia that offer commercially viable products and services, create employment, and have a positive impact on the environment and biodiversity. Ladies and gentlemen, Seed and Biodiversity Finance Accelerator, BIAFA project, which are among the organizing partners of the side event today, have been supporting green enterprises in Zambia since 2018 with the financial support by the government of the Flanders and the German Federal Ministry for the Environment, Natural Conservation, Nuclear Safety, and Consumer Protection. The supported green enterprises offer market-based solutions and contribute to climate change adaptation or biodiversity conservation. In the agriculture sector, for instance, green enterprises grow indigenous or drought-resistant crops, apply organic fertilizers, and climate-smart agricultural techniques. In doing so, they grow more resilient to climate change impacts compared to farmers applying conventional farming techniques, and they help preserve ecosystem services by protecting indigenous species. Other green enterprises produce eco-briquettes or biogas from organic waste materials that substitute firewood and prevent deforestation, and offer clean energy sources that improve the well-being of people. While there are many more marvelous examples of how many enterprises contribute to climate change adaptation or biodiversity conservation, many of these enterprises struggle to grow and scale their operations due to lack of business and financial skills, as well as lack of resources and financing. Ladies and gentlemen, against this background, there is an urgent need to mobilize investments and support green entrepreneurs in Zambia to scale up the business models and amplify their positive impacts on the climate and biodiversity. I thank you.
So, thank you, Mr. Minister, for this important introduction and providing that. Now, as I said, without the Minister of Environment of Germany, I don't think SEED would have existed. So it was a brilliant idea at that time, and still continue to be a brilliant idea. Veronica Tomei, the head of division from the Minister of Environment, please, floor is yours.
Arab. And I think I also have to update my photo. You have mentioned that you have a packed agenda, and having a packed agenda, 3 opening statements is really a challenge. But opening statements are there to show a sign of respect, of tribute, to show the consideration for this event, for the really magnificent work that SEED is doing. So nevertheless, I want to make my opening speech, but I will pay my respect also by cutting it very short. I'm very honored and to stand here and to welcome you all, also those who are on the screen, and I don't really know where to look at, but you will know. And thank you to Flanders for hosting this event. Unfortunately, apparently it was not possible at HLPF itself, but I have to say the meetings that I followed there since Monday, they have made me even be more forward-looking to this event, I have to say. The meetings that I have attended, they are marked by almost an exasperation that time is running out to realize the goals we have set ourselves for the future we want. So I know that SEED is able to provide, to gather people and to provide really inspiring insights. That's why I was so much looking forward to coming here. SEED has a vital mission to promote entrepreneurship as a driver for innovative solutions for sustainable development and supporting the scaling up of successful eco-inclusive business models. Transformative change needs action from the bottom up. And as one of the great examples to be highlighted today, we will hear from the CEO of the company, and I hope I pronounce it well, Uchiwami in Zambia. They are reducing the rates of deforestation in their country through creating green jobs in packaging, branding, and distributing raw, local, organic honey. We are happy to hear more from you later in the panel, Harry. Change agents like the SEED Award winners not only actively contribute to the safeguarding of the environment and the promotion of sustainable development, but they also empower individuals and consumers to actively pursue sustainable choices. They can motivate and inspire others. Their experiences can enlighten good policymaking. I'm therefore looking very much forward to interesting and productive discussions. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. I know that always very challenging to reduce the text of speech and to make it, but close to the point, we get your message clear and right. Now, I mentioned to you earlier, just before moving to the panels, that SEED has been really learning by doing. And this is what we did. You see, over the years, we have been adding elements, adding topics, learning what are the needs of the small and medium enterprises, how can we help them, what type of tools they need, exchanging between them. And we started up to where we are now there, and all those different activities are being undertaken. So it's very challenging for us to keep the pace on that, but learning by doing, by working with the small enterprises, because we never went there to tell them what they have to do, but what we can do together to go to next step. And this is extremely important on how SEED is working. And that's why we always work with local partners, and as much as we can, we establish local hubs who after us will keep on doing the work. To the extent that some of them, after a few years, became even a competitor to SEED. But fine, we're happy with that. They learned it, they got it, and they're working doing it very well. So that's exactly what we were aiming at. SEED after 20 years has really demonstrated, and I insisted a lot on that when I started, that it makes good environmental, social, and economic sense. Most of the time when we talk about business, we talk about the economic side. And in our award, when we make the call, we insist very much on what the enterprise is doing from an environmental and social perspective. The business, we might help them later. It might be eventually our task to see how we can help. So this is something that is extremely important. And as I said earlier, we talk now a lot about resilience after COVID. But the local business are the ones who build their local resilience. Nobody else can do it. So that's why it's important to really turn and look at them and see how we can effectively work with them. And they manage the ecosystem. So since then, over those 20 years, we have seen more and more awareness, interest, advocacies for small and medium enterprises, circular economy, sustainable development, biodiversity loss, and so on, at national, local level, by international organizations. Most of the UN agencies now have a program on SMEs. But it's not the main program, but they have a main program on SMEs. Many governments have something on SMEs in their agenda. I can tell you, I've learned that for COP21, COP28, they will have a special session on SMEs. I'm discussing with them. Wow, it takes time, but we will see what will be said and what will be done. This is something. So between the how, the what, and the how, there's still a lot to be done. And we count very much on the small and medium enterprises for that. So on the transformation where we are here, we have been working together with the small and medium enterprises on how to create local jobs, how to really provide those basic services and sustain them, how to look for the local technologies, innovation that are on the ground, not necessarily imported from outside, nature conservation, and so on. This is good, this is important, but this is not enough. We need to move to next step. We need to scale up. We need to multiply it and so on. And that's why together we can go to those global transformations that we are all asking for. But no one can do it alone. It's impossible. Government, SMEs, IGOs, business sector, they have to work together if we want to have those transformations. And this is the big challenge that we have. So we'll be having 3 panels, all of them looking at the transformative change. But each one of them is an entry point to the whole system. Look at it from a system perspective. When we'll be talking about agri-food transformation, it has element of circularity. It has element of climate and biodiversity. And you look at the others exactly from the same perspective. So each one of them is an entry point to the other. And this is something that we need to keep in mind. If we don't have the system understanding, the system thinking, we will never deliver on circularity, on sustainability. And part of the system, I would say at the core of the system, we have the micro, small, and medium enterprises. They are still at the edge. We need to bring them to the center. With this, we'll be calling for the first panel that will be on circular transformation. I'm not here to describe what is circular economy. This is not the purpose. There's so much fashion these days. Everybody's talking about circularity. Very easy to understand. Very difficult to implement. We have to recognize it, because once we understand it, then we take it to corner and we work into corner and we follow the rest of the system. So it's extremely important that we do consider the whole system of circularity, from the design, the procurement, manufacturing, sale, product use, post-production, and so on. If we don't close the loop, of course, we will be missing the sense of circularity. And for this, we'll be having 3 distinguished panelists that will join us here. Martin Vogt from, I know that we call it the Competence Center for Resource Efficiency. I was trying to see what is VDI in German, but your subjects are called Competence Center for Resource Efficiency, and you're focusing mainly on material use and energy, which is extremely important for circularity. Isabella Maras, I can introduce her for a long time. She's one of my colleagues who have been working together for many years. And I just want to tell you something. If you ever heard about the sustainability in the UN, the sustainable building in the UN, the SUN program, SUN Sustainable UN, it's her. And all the reports that were signed by Ban Ki-moon every year, it's her. And then we will, and then we'll have with us, and that's where coming together, one of the entrepreneurs, the three entrepreneurs, Hana Purnawarman with us from Indonesia, and she will tell us more about their innovative approach. Can you please join us and take the floor? So you have effectively, each one of you, 3 minutes. We can make it 350. You did the math.
Hello. Okay.
1, 2, 3.
So with this, Martin, from your perspective as a competence center for resource efficiency, what circular transformations mean to you in practice, not in theory? And how do you see the role of the small and medium enterprises in this transformation? So what you are doing yourself, how you see it, and what's the role of the SMEs? Do you have it? If not, how you will involve?
Yeah, thank you very much for inviting me and for having me. Just to explain what VDI means, it's the German version of the German Association of Engineers. And our competence center is based at VDI because it's a lot of technical challenges related to resource efficiency. And we are working on behalf also of the German Ministry of the Environment. So in Germany, we have a particular specific situation because 98% of all companies in the manufacturing industries are small and medium-sized enterprises. So they are very old, maybe some 50, 60 years. They're already highly integrated in existing value chains and supply chains. And this means specific challenges for these traditional SMEs to become more circular. In the last 10 years, our focus were mainly on reducing material and energy use. So that was the main focus we had. We provided instruments, we provided how companies can reduce the material use, their resource use. And also this remains a very important part of circular economy. The keyword here is dematerialization. But in recent years, because of the supply chain crisis, because of the increasing demand of raw materials all around the world, the circularity aspect has become more important. We promote, so in addition to the activities we've already implemented over the last years, we now also promote more and more circular strategies, reuse, repair, and remanufacturing on the product level, as well as recycling on the material level. And we also promote new circular business models that are based on a combination of products and integrated services. So that's really the main understanding, that when you talk about circular business models, you not only provide the product, but also the service. And on that basis, you can then develop more circular business models. There are two different strategies SMEs can take. One is to work more with partners in the value chain and beyond. That means the sharing of resources via open partnerships. For example, the sharing of machine time, a platform for the use of secondary raw materials. So when one company has some materials left, they can sell it on a platform. So we promote more secondary raw material use. And also one of the key concepts is industrial symbiosis, where you have industrial parks, which basically are integrated structures for circular and shared services. And we also promote the development of new services for customers. That means product service systems, digitalized services, platform models, and also providing know-how on eco-design, because we all know that eco-design, 80% of resource efficiency and circularity are already decided in the design phase. So that's a very important contribution as well. We have identified many good practice examples and also developed a business canvas model which helps SME to identify tailored circular business models for their own individual applications. It's always very important to look at the specific needs of each SME. One SME is different from another one, so you have to be very specific and tailored. And we also provide on our website many information on good practice examples. And we also have a YouTube channel, if you want to go there, Resource Germany, where there are a lot of films with good practical examples of circular business models for SMEs. And their movies are all also available in English. So go to Resource Germany on YouTube and you can find them. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you. We'll definitely get back to you from SEED perspective to see how we can work together in effectively helping clients.
I'd like to do this.
Thank you. Isabella, UNEP organization, what does it mean for you, circular transformation? And what is the role of inclusive enterprise?
Thank you, Arab, and thank you for the introduction before. So I started in UNEP in '97, and since then I've always seen UNEP working with SMEs. But we are an organization that works a lot with member states. So the way we tackle the work with SMEs is through partnerships. SEED is one of these absolutely important partnership that has gone on for 20 years. And we also work, for instance, with the Resource Efficiency and Cleaner Production Center. That is more at, how can I say, really SME level and more granular level. In a larger scheme, we also work, of course, with other UN partners, UNIDO, and with the Global Alliance, GACIR, the Global Alliance on Circular Economy and Resource Efficiency. So we reach SMEs through partners with the idea of proposing tools and approaches that bring circular economy, particularly in what we call high impact sectors, textile, plastics, building and construction that have quite long and detailed supply chains where SMEs are absolutely fundamental. Let me give you one example of many projects that UNEP has, because I like it. And it's the Global Opportunities for Sustainable Development Goals Ideas and Initiative, Go for SDG. And the reason for me to bring it is because it works more at a regional level than a global level. And it has quite a vast palette of partners. Go for SDG focuses on governments to strengthen legislation, but also on SMEs as a specific target, and at youth. And youth is a very important, I think, resource and angle to look at the work of SMEs. Two examples I will give you just about this project to be more concrete. One is the Green, I always forget the name, Green Jobs for Youth Pact. It's a project that really aims at supporting young entrepreneurs, bringing capacity building and leadership to young people to make a transition to a low carbon, circular and nature positive economy. There is a lot of interest in young people to work on this, but maybe not the capacity building and the skills that are necessary for them to start their companies and bring added value to society. And then there is a work on promoting social and environmental entrepreneurship with a tool done also with you, with SEED and the GGKP, Green Growth Knowledge Partnership. And in that case, we have a specific tool called iGo, that is an online self-assessment for SMEs to understand where they are in their trajectory to circular economy. We have other examples, but I'll skip them. And let me say a couple of things on SMEs and their role more in general. So that we saw it after COVID, the next normal is there. We are actually beyond the next normal even. And the role of SMEs and their value chains has changed somehow. Actually, we had lots of problems in the market through value chains because of probably SMEs and the challenges that they had. SMEs account for 9 out of 10 businesses globally and is half of the global gross domestic product. We all have the statistics, but we also need to look at the other side, Arab, and that is SMEs are also responsible for 70% of global pollution. They're responsible for 60% of global industrial carbon emissions. So they're a key factor in the fabric of society and from there solution can come that have actually a massive impact if you look at these numbers. Two considerations I would like to add, and then I'm finished. First, there is a lot of studies that show that consumer spending is predicted to increase, particularly in countries with younger average population. We always speak about consumption, under consumption. It's not just about developed and developing countries. Now we are talking about layers of society, those who have access to consumption and those who don't. Here in the US, there is more and more poor people, and in other countries, there is quite a sizable part of the population that can consume. So demand for sustainable solutions will come from consumers increasingly. And supply chain shocks, we've seen it, can be reduced or eliminated through collaboration, circular business models, and agility. And SMEs have the agility, and as Arab says, the grip on the ground that is necessary to develop these solutions and to develop solutions that are grounded on reality. We're very high from the floor, but they're grounded down there on the street. Thank you. Back to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Isabella. Last but not least, it's because of them and thanks to them that we are here, small and medium enterprises. Hannah Parnawar, can you please tell us from your own perspective how an enterprise, your enterprise, support and contribute to circular transformation, and what else you need to scale what you are doing?
Thank you. Hello. I think my voice is just as small as me. Yeah, thank you, Arab, and thank you for the opportunity to be here. I'm from Sampangan. We are a green startup from Indonesia. So we are actually taking circular transformation in a very literal way. So what we do is we convert waste into new raw materials. And we do it using our proprietary technology that we call the magic box. Why is it magic? Because we can turn all types of waste without sorting into totally new and clean materials, such as activated carbon, biodisinfectant, and also crude oil. And all of these materials are applicable to a lot of different industries, which we have been applying to, for example, regenerative agriculture, and sanitation, especially during COVID-19, we helped some cities to clean up with our biodisinfectant. And also, we are able to transform plastic waste into crude oil, which we are using to maximize the efficiency of our operation. And on top of that, our whole process is also very sustainable. So we don't generate pollution, and we also don't leave any residue whatsoever. Yeah, so that's why it's magic. Yeah, and also, so what we are doing next is that we need to scale this because, so for us, especially in countries like Indonesia, where basically, every man's for himself, like the political infrastructure, it's not enough to support small and medium enterprises. So we got to do what we got to do to survive, right? So we are really taking sustainability to another level because our survival is literally dependent on it. And what is more sustainable than using waste as a resource? Yeah, and what's next for us is that we are trying to scale our operations so that we can serve the circular economy industries. And yeah, so actually later this year, we're going for our very first institutional fundraising. So you guys are very welcome to join if you want. Shamelessly promoting myself here. Yeah, so that's where we're going, and we're very positive about it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, and congratulations for your efforts. And what we want, in fact, is not only having 3, but that the 3 makes 5 and 10 and 100 and 1,000 and 10. Now, a brief question to all of you, even we're running out of time. One of the main topics here at HLPF is localizing SDGs, delivering SDGs at local level, and so on. But as I said, I mean, I attended a couple of sessions and I've not heard about small and medium enterprises. So what can governments and SMEs do together? Or first of all, what can governments do really give attention, what should be done to the small and medium enterprises? What should the global community circularity approach do to bring those small and medium enterprises from the edge where they are to the center of attention and discourse if we are serious about delivering sustainability and localizing SDGs? This is where we are here. Most of it is localizing SDGs. How can we localize the SDGs without working seriously with small and medium enterprises?
Well, first of all, it's very important to take into account the realities on the ground. Each SME is different, and each SME has its own personal particular challenges, but there are challenges which can be generalized. And I think one major step, there are 3 pillars in Germany. It's research innovation funding for SMEs to help them to develop their own products further, of course, to have the sustainable standards in place. Second one is direct investment support. And the third one is to give them the counsel and the information support, because SMEs do not have their own R&D departments. They are small, so they need external support also in terms of knowledge and in terms of know-how how to do it. And a very important milestone could be the digitalization. I think it becomes easier because we have now the data. We have the data and the transparent material data in the supply chain. And we can use that to optimize supply chains and global chains as well, and therefore also support the SMEs to become better in this process. So the chances of digitalization, I think, are a very important prerequisite for being successful.
Thank you. And small and medium enterprises are very keen about digitalization. They can go quicker than the big companies because they are young.
To be very honest, it's hard.
Africa, in Asia, yes. In Africa, in Asia, yes. In terms of digitalization, they are really upfront. But anyhow, we do have a discussion. Isabella.
Areas are essential. The first is the capacity building. We have amazing innovators, but by and large, it would be good for not just governments, also local authorities, regional authorities that we were talking about SDG 11, to bring capacity to understand the full life cycle thinking, value chain approach, and make sure that is part of the thinking of any SME. Second, normative framework and financing. Sustainable SME need better legislation, protective legislation, a type of, I don't know, intervention on the taxation system that favor sustainable solution rather than penalizing them. And then work maybe with the financial sector, banks and investors, so that SMEs attract a specific attention for their specific contribution to society with packages that they can manage in terms of application for loans and grants, etc.
Hannah, you have heard all this. What do you expect?
Yes, I think Isabel and Martin has covered all of the important things. From our practical experience, programs like SEED have been helping us tremendously, especially in giving us visibility, which actually gives us network, which in turn then gives us a lot of opportunities that we get from projects or funding, for example. So we just look at it like things that are in practice and what we can do every day that can help us. And like programs like this really helps.
Thank you. She's passing the message to you to come and help us so we can help them or help them better. Thank you very much. Thank you. I'm sure that we can go for 1 hour, but unfortunately we don't have the time. Let's move to the next panel, which is on climate and biodiversity. But in topic, I mean, it's so hot these days. Not hot about the weather, but the two COPs, the COP that was just ended, the new COP that we are preparing, biodiversity, climate, looking at the relation between them. And obviously, it's clear that any threat on biodiversity, while understanding it more and more, it has an impact on climate change, and climate change has a very obvious impact on the species, the land, the trees, the biodiversity, and so on. Science is helping us more and more, but we're still very weak in terms of how we can effectively implement it. And that's where we definitely need to see how the role of biodiversity, positive enterprises can make an impact. And we come again to the small and medium enterprises because they are deeply rooted in ecosystems. They do care about the biodiversity around them because it's a matter of survival. So this is something that we need to keep in mind. And what SEED and Adelphi has been doing with this biodiversity finance accelerator is to see how they can help those entrepreneurs to scale their business and to really better link biodiversity, climate change, and make sure that their positive approach is scaled up. And this program, as you have heard also the minister talking about it, he had even behind him on the screen, the Women's Entrepreneurship Access Center, which is partnering with us together with the Longwy University of Agriculture in Malawi. So we work with those universities and entrepreneurs put together on the floor. And this has been supported by the Agrifood-Systems, the Ministry of Environment. So the different partners without them, we could not be where we are now. And it's a very important program because we are drawing lessons for other in other countries and so on. Let's move to the coordinator panel here to join us. Herman de Kock and Elisa from the government of Flanders, and Elisa Jose from UNDP, and Tokozani Shimal Sula from Tasma's venture from this. Can you take your seats there? Okay, so let us start with Herman, coming from the Environment Department of the Government of Flanders. How does Flanders, and we heard earlier from Yves on how important the SMEs are in the program and so on, how much they care about it, how the Government of Flanders supports climate action and adaptation? How important is it in your agenda? And how much do you see the role of eco-inclusive enterprises in supporting climate resilience?
Right, thank you, everyone. The impact of climate change strongly affects the region of Flanders. It's manifesting itself in periods of flooding, drought, water scarcity, and even heat waves. So it has become clear to our government that we need to act now to become climate resilient. But we can't do this alone, and we need to involve every vital actor in our society. And indeed, as Mr. Yves already mentioned, Flanders is an SME region. 70% of total employment is provided by SMEs in Flanders. So it has become clear to us as a government that we need to involve them. But this realization has also become clear to the business leaders of these SMEs. And this is one of the results of the Flemish Sustainability Barometer, which is an initiative of the Flemish government in cooperation with Ghent University in order to map out sustainable activities within SMEs. Another result of this Sustainability Barometer is the fact that many SMEs lack the knowledge of how to act sustainable. And this is where we as a government can take up responsibility by providing knowledge and financial support. A perfect example of how we can do this are our own Flemish Green Deals. These are 15 ambitious partnerships between the public and the private sector in order to make real sustainable action. These partnerships covers different themes, such as making industrial sites more biodiverse, or promoting sustainable transportation, or for example, shifting to a more circular economic model in the construction sector. Now, up until now, more than 1,500 organizations have already joined our Green Deals. And for a private company, this means joining a learning network, gathering information, and most importantly, making real sustainable change. But our ambitions as a government don't stop at our own borders. On an international level, we have the GSTIC Climate Action Program. This is a call for proposals for projects on climate adaptation and mitigation with a focus on developing countries such as determined by the OECD. This call for proposals is organized by the Flemish government in cooperation with GSTIC. And we really focus on the important assets of small and medium enterprises, because we believe they have very important, innovative drive that they can bring. And it's very important for us to involve them and also to bring them in contact with international organizations from all sectors. And my last point on this is the fact that we provide 60% of financial support, which means that a lot of private investments go to developing assistance. So I think it's very important to make this come true. And if anyone is interested in the projects of the GSTIC Climate Action Program, you can always come see me afterwards. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for this call. I hope the people maybe online have got it, and they will go to the website to see if they can effectively apply and see how they can work together up to that. And obviously, we need a Green Deal at different local levels in the world, because it has been an interesting approach. Annalisa, UNDP has an important Nature for Development program that supports the nature positive transformation. What's the role and the importance of the small and medium enterprises in this context from your perspective?
Oh, sorry. So the role of, we actually have, we support micro, small, and medium enterprises at UNDP. And first I wanted to highlight the crucial role of MSMEs in the economies worldwide. First is that they constitute a staggering 90% of all enterprises globally. In developing countries, they provide employment for around 80% of the workforce. And in emerging economies, they contribute to around 40% of the GDP. So against this background, eco-inclusive MSMEs not only contribute to economic growth, but are major drivers for nature positive transformation. For example, ecotourism enterprises offer sustainable tourism experiences. They safeguard ecosystems services and conserve biodiversity while providing sustainable livelihoods. Sustainable forestry, agroforestry, non-timber product enterprises contribute to forest conservation and climate change mitigation, and again, provide sustainable livelihoods. So for UNDP Nature for Development, the nature positive transformation of MSMEs is very crucial. We see eco-inclusive MSMEs as engines of sustainable development.
Thank you very much. And we know that you are working in almost all the countries, so it's an extremely important issue to see how we can scale it up and transform it. As I said earlier, last but not least, and first I want to tell you sorry for the recent impact of the flood in your country that also affected you and your company. It's important to recognize how much the local enterprises sometimes suffer a lot from those type of events. So Toko, how does your enterprise, because you suffered from it in fact, supports a climate adaptation at local communities, and what else do you need to get in your efforts?
Thank you, Arab, for your question, and thank you for having me here today. So at TACMAS, we are responding to food insecurity and lack of nutritious food while responding to climate change. So by doing this, we are implementing 3 programs. The first one, as a biodiversity positive enterprise, we are producing a variety of horticultural crops and raising different breeds of livestock that include pigs, poultry, and fish. We're using this, we bring this by using climate responsive mechanisms like land, water, and soil management. And also, the second program is about economic empowerment of women. So we are empowering women farmers in some districts in Malawi by providing them with access to capacity building in sustainable agriculture. We are also providing them with access to farm inputs, and we are also providing them with access to profitable markets, of which we are one of their main off-takers. The reason why we are focusing on women farmers is because 71% of the total Malawian population of the total Malawian food producer community is comprised of women farmers. Yet women suffer the consequences of climate change more than their male counterparts because of underlying social norms that continue to exist in most Malawian patriarchal societies. The third program is something that has just come up because of the recent Cyclone Freddy that made a landfall this year in March, which affected a lot of communities. So we've realized that the climate change issue is intergenerational and intersectional. So we are including young people in our program. So what we're doing is we're opening up space at the farm where we're having young people come and learn about climate change at a small fee, of course, so that by the end of the day, they come up with innovations that they can implement in their various communities. So basically, overall, our strength in responding to climate action and biodiversity loss lies on our strong, dynamic, eco-inclusive model that leverages on every opportunity that will advance climate action, biodiversity restoration, community empowerment, while generating revenue. So when we talk about the next step, we really want to scale. We want to scale by including more women farmers. And like we already indicated, we've suffered a lot because of Cyclone Freddy. So many land has been washed away, and we know we have a lot of responsibility to support our community so we can restore back the land. So we need investment to help us so that we can reach more people and produce more food for our communities. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And I hope that your message will get through to really consider providing you with the right investment. But of course, we need to think also about the local banks, how they can understand the need of the small and medium enterprises, how the government can work with them in order to allow for that. It's a whole process that has been taking more than 30 years in Europe until it becomes operational. So we need to have something similar in Africa and in Asia. The same question, we are here to look at the localizing sustainable development goals. So from each one of you, how you can also focus on one of the SDGs if you want. How do you see a collaboration between government and small and medium enterprise? So because the UN organization and SMEs in effectively localizing.
So for the government of Flanders, Agenda 2030 is the main framework for our development cooperation strategy. And in this agenda, it's emphasized that every actor in our society needs to take up its responsibility. And this means also enterprises, but we can't leave them on their own. As a government, we have the responsibility to support them. And support can mean different things, and it has already been mentioned. Support can mean sharing our knowledge, but support can also mean helping them setting up on an international scale, or encouraging private investment in social projects. And I think for us, the partnership with SEED is extremely useful and important to realize international projects on eco-inclusive entrepreneurship. And this is in partner countries such as Malawi, Mozambique, Morocco, and even the wide region of Southern Africa. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Annalisa, UNDP.
So we actually localize SDGs at UNDP through two global initiatives, one being the UNDP JEF Small Grants Program, which provides direct financial and technical assistance to community-led projects that restore and conserve the environment while enhancing livelihoods. The second is the Equator Initiative, which is led by UNDP, and they recognize outstanding community initiatives and enterprises for sustainably managing natural resources. And by recognizing these exemplary efforts, Equator Initiative inspires and drives positive change. And just another way to further support eco-inclusive MSMEs at the local level is governments can provide supportive policy frameworks, developing favorable policies and regulations that reduce barriers and create an enabling environment for MSMEs to thrive. Another way is, it was mentioned before, is especially for micro in the MSMEs, capacity building is very crucial. And this includes business development, integrating SDGs into their business models, and providing opportunities for entrepreneurship and leadership roles. Another way is to improve access to finance and credit by promoting tailored financial tools. Access to market is also very important because a lot of it at the local level still is in the informal economy. So access to market is very important. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Many things on what needs to be done. Now, how?
Okay, thank you so much. In the first place, I have to acknowledge SEED for the support that it's given us to develop our enterprise up to now. We've got the skills which have helped us to position us to better respond to climate change and biodiversity loss. But then capacity building alone is not enough. We have the energy as entrepreneurs, we have the commitment, we have the passion, and here are the skills. But we need tangible investment for us to implement all these skills so that we can scale up our programs. So, like she's already said, we have so many restricting regulations in our country. We need an enabling policy environment that will support us to access investment. Because you'd find out that the way they treat a larger corporation in Malawi is the same as they would treat me. So it's difficult for us to compete with these larger corporations because they have all that it takes for them to access financing, while for us it's very challenging. In the same way, I would like to appeal to all of us in here that the climate change and biodiversity loss is real. So many things are changing today. We're seeing everything for ourselves. It's a responsibility for all of us in here. We can directly get engaged in the activities that will promote biodiversity restoration, for example. At least we can empower someone or support someone who already has the drive to do the things. We have that drive, and we need that particular support so as we can thrive together. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. We need to allow you to drive us in a better direction. Thank you very much. Message well received. Let's move to the next panel. Okay, agri-food transformation. Everything we have said, in fact, before on circular transformation, biodiversity, climate change, impact on food, and we have examples here. So together with FAO, we are working with selected small and medium enterprises in many countries to go to the next step, to look in the context of food systems. And we will be providing the outcomes of this joint work at the food summit that will happen soon in Roma. And this helps us both to understand better at the level of 3 dimensions, how we can really bring up this issue of agriculture transformation, sustainable food system with small and medium enterprises. And we did it, we're doing it with enterprises that we had awarded before in the agri-food sector, and we're taking them to the next step thanks to this collaboration. And that's exactly what we need to do. See how we can do the next step with other partners. Because as they said, we did as much we can do as SEED, but we need to go further. And we can do it with partners, exactly as we're doing it with FAO, as we did with Go for SDGs. And I hope we'll be doing it with other partners, with UN agencies and others, and hopefully soon with banks. And we're doing it with the European Commission, by the way, in Uganda also. So looking at resilient agri-food systems, Safe and nutritious agri-food system and inclusive agri-food systems are the three elements that are guiding our work together with FAO. And we are really working with those startups, providing the toolkits. We have our toolkit that we have improved in this context. And we are really providing a tailored coaching for each and every one, each one of them. And this is extremely important. What are their needs? How can we support them? How can we work together with them? And I hope this will be something very interesting when we'll be providing the result. And we wish to really scale it up and go to other regions and cover more. Let me call our panelists here to join us. Hanalka Petrit from FAO. Thank you for finding for that. But, and thank you for the good collaboration that we are having together. Yes, okay. Leida Reinhardt, who used to be a very active person in New York, by the way. I don't know if you know, she was involved in the major groups and so on. I used to meet with her in the last, I don't know, 20 years here around in New York. And now she's leading the World Trade Organization and excellent for the agri-food issues. And Harry Malichi from Uchima Wami. You will tell us a lot about it. These are essential for our system, but recently survival. And by the way, since we are now, we have the third enterprise. I don't know if you have looked at them, but we prepared postcards for each one of them. See them when we go out. They're very sincere. They're interested. Very well done. Very well prepared. I'm not praising my team who did it. But in the way they are doing it, it's very nice. We can keep them, look at them. We have behind the main SDGs that they are working on, and so on, and the main elements. And we're doing something similar for almost all the enterprises which are. With this, let us move to our panelists. FAO. How do FAO programs support agri-food transformation? We know that it's called. But how do you see the role of eco-inclusive enterprise, which is not obvious from the work that we see generally overall on that, and how the innovation that is being done can be done?
Much, Arab, for having me here. I really would like to start with stressing that agri-food system transformation is really one of the transitions that we need for accelerate the SDG implementation and achieve the Agenda 2030. Now, we also know that at the same time, agri-food systems are heavily contributing to biodiversity loss, greenhouse gas emissions, climate change impacts. But at the same time, they are also heavily impacted by the same climate crisis. So FAO is very deeply engaged in agri-food system transformation on all fronts to make sure that these systems become more sustainable, more resilient, more inclusive, and more efficient. So just let me mention a couple of things that FAO is doing among the many things. But for example, we do promote the nature-based solutions, coastal wetland conservation, conservation agriculture, bioeconomy innovations, so like turning waste from the banana value chain into biotextiles, for example, agroecological innovations. FAO is monitoring the use of harmful chemical use and promoting biopesticides and biofertilizers. Very importantly, we promote healthy diet through consumer education, awareness, and food labeling. Also, FAO is deeply engaged in promoting technologies and approaches for reducing food waste and loss, which we know is an important contributor to greenhouse gas emissions, and also promoting the role of smallholders, family farmers, women and youth, and their active role in agri-food system transformation. Now, when it comes to SMEs or MSMEs, FAO has long recognized their role in poverty reduction, agricultural development, food development. And in 2022, out of all the engagement, informal engagement that FAO had with the private sector, 42% was with MSMEs. And I would like to relate back to one of the things that you have said and other panelists already, no? So to bring SDGs into life, we need to localize them. And I believe that MSMEs more than ever have this potential to help reduce the vulnerabilities of agrifood systems by reducing poverty, by reducing climate change impacts. So localizing the SMEs means finding solutions, local solutions to local problems. And as you said, the MSMEs are deeply rooted in their cultural context, in their economic and social context, and heavily dependent on the natural ecosystems. So these are the enterprises that are better able and more motivated to find these local solutions, invest in grassroots initiatives. And because they depend on the local human, but also environmental resources, they are, it is in their best interest to train the workers, to provide decent employment conditions and protect the natural environment. So building trust and alliances with the local communities is the success of their existence, of their best businesses. So as you mentioned, since last November, FAO partnered with SEED to launch the SDG Agri-Food Accelerator Program, exactly to help select enterprises from Africa and Asia, 11 enterprises, to help them scale up their businesses, to help them improve financial readiness, innovation potential, but also market reach. So we are working with these 11 enterprises through very tailored coaching and workshops. And so Harry will talk about the extraordinary work that they are doing, but I would like to mention two other examples, if I may, very shortly. So one is Kalahari Honey from Botswana. This enterprise, they practically provide beehives for farmers, for the local farmers, and they use these beehives as active fences to avoid that elephants destroy the farms. And so in this way, they protect elephants, they protect their wildlife, but they are also providing alternative livelihood opportunities. And the other example is the gorilla conservation coffee in Uganda, where they are paying premium price for the coffee producers. And this alternative livelihood opportunity helps farmers not to go and poach and remove wood from the habitat where gorillas live. So again, mitigating the human-wildlife conflict, if you wish, protecting the animals, protecting their habitat, but also helping farmers increase their incomes. I stop here.
Thank you very much, and thank you for promoting the entrepreneurs with whom SEED we working and with whom people are working together. And exactly what we're doing is we want to go together to the next step. Leda, as the World Fair Trade Organization, definitely have food. It's an extremely important issue. So how much are you involving the small and medium enterprises? Yes. How can you contribute to transformation, and how fair trade can induce and support small and medium enterprises to go further?
Okay, thank you. Thanks for inviting me. This is nice to be in New York again on the HLPF after 20 years of CSD, whatever. So yes, now I'm representing the World Fair Trade Organization, which is the home of fair trade enterprises. And that makes us different. That I always start with this because people think that I'm from Fair Trade International, and that's another, let's say that's our sister organization. So they certify commodities, we certify enterprises as a whole. So that's the difference. So I'm from the last one. We have around 400 fair trade enterprises around the world. They are often in producing artisania, handicrafts, but a big part is also working on food and farming products. So what we do is we give them capacity building, We would like to do that more, but I mean, limited funds are also kind of restricting us on this. And they have to comply with all our 10 fair trade principles. Those 10 fair trade principles are quite in line with the SDGs, but they were before the SDGs, so they were older than the SDGs. But I mean, it's all about the same, let's say, poverty eradication, environmental protection, gender equality, transparency. I mean, the same, you can look it up on our website. When an enterprise wants to become a member of us, they have to be on the baseline. And after that, we start together with them on improvement plans. So it's indeed also the capacity building that we all hear that the SMEs need to really, I mean, let's say, upskill themselves. All this is externally monitored. So our guarantee system, I mean, giving a label to those enterprises is monitored by third parties. But we are also a movement, and I think that's very important. The label is nice. I mean, consumers are asking for it, but it's also important because we also try to campaign on the business revolution. It's good to promote the SMEs, but it's also good to phase out the unsustainable businesses. Because we also see, and if we talk about agriculture, we also see that a big problem is done by the agro industry. I mean, monocultural production, etc., etc. So part of it is building the new economy that our members are doing, the future-proof SMEs. But it's also very important that we phase out the I mean, the unsustainable food and farming. So I think on the what we do with the SMEs that are farmers or cooperatives, family farms, whatever, is also help them in processing the food, so that not only the raw materials from the south or even from Europe are going to the markets and then go into the agro industry, but also that they process it themselves, so that the added value just stays in the country, stays in the region. So we are also certifying or starting to certify farmer markets, also in the north, by the way, because we also see that our own, I mean, own meaning European farmers are also marginalized on the markets, because it's the bigger farmers that are having the access to the supermarkets, etc., etc. So that's what it's something new. I mean, when I entered, I started this line as well, because I think that's very important to do it as well. But also in the global south, we have the market, which is Plaza de la Vida in Riobamba. It's only small producers, often women, but also producers of processed foods, which can be cheese, yogurt, refreshments, and that kind of things. And that's something that we are, I mean, very keen on to do that. Food processing is an easy technology. I mean, it's not, let's say, skyrocket science to make cheese or marmalades or whatever. So it's really something that you can do in the region. Some are even doing it in their kitchens. I mean, extended kitchens. And I think that is really very important to also create more jobs in the rural regions and stop migration to the cities, which is also.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Leda. Let us move now to the last speaker, and as I said, always last but not least, because you are the ones who bring us here to this meeting. Harry Malici from Uchiwami. Can you tell us more on how much you are contributing to this active food transformation, and what you need more just to make your business more visible, more sustainable, applicable?
Thank you so much. My name is again Harry Malici. I'd love to say thank you to Seed, by the way, for having me here. And of course, I'll write on the protocols already observed. Yes, so what we do with Uchiwami, by the way, Uchiwami means my honey in our native language. Yes, so what we do is we work with the smallholder farmers that are in the outskirts of Milonga, that have been practicing traditional beekeeping, but then the problem is that the beekeeping that they do is unsustainable because they cut down the Myombo trees. A Myombo tree takes 40 years to be able to grow, but then they cut to just make one beehive. So in 2018, we realized that that was unsustainable, and we thought ourselves as the change, the agent of change, and we formed up with my team to begin to work with them. So what we do is that we substitute the traditional beekeeping model with a sustainable one called the top beehive, where we use pine wood, which is easy to plant. And as well, the traditional beekeeping model is labor intensive, meaning that the women cannot do it. So we realized that the women were excluded. So through that, we thought, okay, let's give them a model that really tackles on the environment and as well brings inclusivity to the women. From 2018, we've been working with 2,500 smallholder farmers. We have preserved a plus each year. We preserve 125,000 trees, which I think is good for our ecosystem. So that's what we've been doing in Munilunga. But then I think what we're looking at is to scale, because over the years, we managed to prove that the model works. It's also bankable, but then now where are we going? So we want to ensure that we begin to scale into other provinces just within Zambia, so that then they are also able to tackle the challenges of climate change. Because for me, I believe that the problems that we face in Munilunga or Zambia are problems that everybody in the world is able to have the effects of. For example, the climate issues that we are tackling are not only for the local countries, but then the globe is at the same level to experience this. So that's what we do.
Thank you very much, and you're doing good well, and I hope we can help you to go to next step. Just the same question for all of you, and very brief, because we're already 15 minutes late. We should close now, but we will have still the boards. How do you believe, from Agrifood perspective, SMEs and governments should come together to really help in localizing SDGs? And you said it very well, and yourself. I remember when I was working with my UNEP team at that time in the elaboration of the SDGs. We were very active there. We insisted a lot on the local level, and we were told, okay, we see next time, we see next time. And so we still do it now. So please, can you comment?
Two things to add to what the previous panelists have already mentioned, or the supportive regulations, policy, financing. One is in the context of Agri-Food-System transformation, UNFSS follow-up, and you will see in the forthcoming stock-taking moments in Italy, we talk about multi-stakeholder processes, multi-sectoral, but multi-stakeholder processes. So for me, it is essential, crucial to have MSMEs proactively engaged in participatory planning, participatory policy planning, and all these processes that bring there. Now, we know that the private sector is one of the, let's say, stakeholders, also in the UNFSS follow-up process. But I have worked now a lot on the stakeholders' contribution to the stock-taking movement. And I have to say that MSMEs' voices are rarely heard. So the private sector is there, but mainly dominated by other voices. So, and here I would like to link to the role of MSMEs on their side, what they can do. And maybe what they can do is elevate their voice, organize into networks, make sure that they are represented somehow, you know, more proactively in different fora and in these processes.
Thank you very much. So the purpose of the coalition was to take more time. Later.
Yes, it's funny because I'm now, since I'm with WFTO, I'm part of the major group business and industry. They're still looking strange to me because I really think, I mean, after 20 years of being on the activist chair, but I really think that it is indeed very important that the alternative business models, be it SMEs, be it cooperatives or social enterprises, etc., are indeed sitting on the seat of business and industry because they are representing private sector. I mean, we are private sector. We are not in a niche doing good work for saving the world. I mean, we are, I mean, what we are, I mean, not me, but our members at least. So I think that's very important. And also what I see is that many governments are now also more and more into policies to kind of give preference to SMEs. And then they often come to us because you also have bad SMEs, let's say. It's not because they are small, they're always bad or good or whatever. So I think what they are asking is for a kind of verification on what the SME is doing. So fair trade is a kind of, I mean, it's a term that is not protected, like organic and whatever. So in France, even in Belgium, Europe, they are now also kind of looking for and the concept, I mean, the definition of the concept of fair trade. So they want to see, okay, we want to work with small enterprises, but they have to comply at least with the sustainability criteria, which our principles are. Chile is also doing a lot on that. So I think it's very important to have that in mind, that governments are indeed working a lot towards SMEs at the moment. But yeah, you have to see how you frame it and how you define the SMEs.
Thank you very much. Harry, last.
Thank you. I think I'll talk on two subjects, the subject of scale and the subject of ecosystem. You cannot scale a business without an ecosystem. For our case in 2021, we won the Seed Climate Adaptation Award, where we were given capacity building for 1 year. After the capacity building, we had moved our revenues by 31%. We grew our employment from 5 to 22. But then you realize that when you have the capacity building, it's one puzzle. But then you need to complete the ecosystem so that policy is attending to the same business. And with policy, there's also the issue of finance. And those are things that cannot work alone. They have to be in an ecosystem. So for us right now, we are looking now for funding, because now we have learned with the seed capacity building. Now we want to scale up, but we cannot do so without a bankable, without a bank coming on board or a financial institution. But then you realize that the policy and the framework that is already on the ground was not tailored for a business like which one. It was tailored for a bigger corporate. When you go into the bank, we're using the same door to enter with a corporate entity that is already got many billions in their account. But what about an SME like me, who already has a bankable project, but then the rates that are already on the ground do not favor a business like Chuan? So I think I'll advocate for a policy and for an ecosystem that really works on capacity building to also marry it with the financing component of it.
Thank you very much. It comes to the diagram that I was putting about learning by doing. And in fact, the next component on which we have been working for the last few years is exactly the policy labs and the finance labs, where we try to bring those different entities together to build the ecosystem. Very challenging, but we're trying our best on that. Thank you very much. Thank you, and let's move to the last part of it. Sorry, we are 15 minutes late, but we will try to respect the next 15 minutes. We go to the awards, and before opening on that, I mean, I did it before listening to it, and I think we are all getting closer to each other on this issue. We need really to more seriously consider the small and medium enterprises. We heard a lot about think global, act local. We know what it means. It has been always thinking global, acting local was out of the picture. We are repeating acting local, but we're still doing a little. And that's where we need to change. And if we don't bring, and this has been said, I think very clearly by Hanelka, if we don't bring the micro, small and medium enterprises to the center of the discourse, we will not be able to effectively deliver on the SDGs. So we need to accelerate, replicate, scale up, and so on. And we need to come together through a partnership, what we want to call the collective action catalyst. So, and it's more and more repeated now, but unfortunately just repeated. We need to see how we can handle that. No climate target without SMEs, no circular economy without SMEs, nobody, everybody knows about it. We know the what, we don't know the how. And we definitely need to do it. Even OECD in a recent report, I think 6-7 months ago, said no net zero without SMEs. Now, and still we have to see how to implement it properly. So it's extremely important that we really get aware and try to see how we can walk the talk on this. Let us move now to, I won't say the most important part, but an interesting part of it, the entrepreneurship. Every year we have an award system. It's a call for application that we do in selected number of countries. So now we have 5 countries. Next year it will be other countries, but will be some of them and so on. So we are turning around. It's not always the same countries. And we change the topics. depending on emerging issues and so on, focusing on climate change, on biodiversity, on water, on food, and so on. So maybe next year we'll be insisting more on the food aspect, thanks to the collaboration with FAO or something like that, or the outcome of the COP28. And we will adjust what we'll be asking from the small and medium enterprises when they will be applying, in order to see what type of support we can provide. And on that basis, that we'll be selecting our enterprises. So for the climate adaptation, we have been asking for application from Botswana, Malawi, and Zambia. And for the circular economy award, we have been focusing on India and Kenya. And as I said, next year we'll do it others. The first one, we did it with the support of the government of Flanders. And the second one, we did it with the support of the IKEA Foundation. On the awards, we have two categories, what we call the winners, who will be receiving a more important grant support, but more important than the grant, because if you look at it, of course, it can be important for a small and medium enterprise or micro one, but more important, and I think our colleagues here can tell the stories if need be, is the support we provide, the one-to-one support that is provided, that is much more in terms of money than the 15 or the 5,000 we provide. So we have colleagues from our team, in addition to team, as I said, in the countries, because we create local hubs who will be effectively supporting throughout the period of 1 year, and then they will keep on working there. So this is something extremely important for us. Rather than giving, we could give 100,000. No, we prefer to give a small amount and then make sure that we accompany them to go to next step. And this is something extremely important for us. And it has proved, and I will stop here before giving the showing who are the winners and the video. 80% of the small and medium enterprise SEED has been working with are still alive and ongoing. I don't know a single entity who can give such a result. 80, why? Because we accompany. We work with them day by day. It's not just we provide you the tool and do it. This is extremely important as a methodology. 80% are still alive and doing their business and growing. And with this, we come to the awards. These are the winners of the Green Entrepreneurship Award. Mango Craft from Botswana, Tuana Cooking Oil from Malawi, Forest Africa, Zambia, and then the adaptation one, the circular economy expression, India, bare necessities, zero waste, India, botanic treasures, Kenya, and Zehanga, Kenya. And I will show you now a small video from them.
We are delighted to be selected as winners of the Green Entrepreneurship Awards 2023. At Mango Craft, we upcycle indigenous African fruits and then we turn them into preserved sauces and syrups.
Our mission at Mango Craft is to create a circular economy that benefits all using the indigenous fruits of the country.
We're going to use this awesome award to scale up our business in terms of business development, as well as to better connect with our customers.
In Botswana, there's a saying, "Moto ki moto kabato," which means we are who we are because of you. And so our thanks goes out to you. And our message to you is keep pushing us and stay on this journey with us as we grow.
We're thrilled to be the winners of the Green Entrepreneurship Award for 2023. This award is not only for us, but also for all youth-led enterprises in Malawi that are working hard to make sure that we have sustainable food systems and also resilient agricultural systems. We work with small-scale farmers, especially women farmers and youth farmers, by providing them with green entrepreneurship lessons and also information on climate change adaptation and mitigation to help them to build resilient agricultural systems.
West Africa Zambia Limited is promoting rural enterprise by specializing in processing indigenous wild fruits, producing organic and natural juices and seed oils, by applying a zero waste philosophy. For example, all the parts of the baobab fruit are used and some seeds are reserved for reforestation. Other fruits currently being processed and the monkey brain and the African mainland. It is worth noting that the income impact of wild fruit valorization is very high because wild fruits are free to the communities within proximate forest areas. Through ecosystem-based adaptation, for example, Forest Africa Zambia Limited is improving rural incomes through alternative livelihood by creating a ready market for wild fruits, which enhances local communities' ability to adapt to climate change and build their resilience using their locally available resources, such as wild fruit trees.
Globally, over 1 billion people need a home today. And this number could go up to 2 billion by 2030. And we are helping them by providing affordable, fast, modular, and sustainable homes. We are excited to be selected as one of the winners of Green Entrepreneurship Award 2023. This award would certainly help us in achieving our future milestones and taking our idea forward. We are on a mission to eradicate homelessness, and we want your help in taking this idea forward. Let's innovate this construction industry together and make this world a better place to live. Thank you so much.
We create sustainable products that are designed not to land up in our oceans and landfills. We try and mirror the values of low waste living, circularity, and sustainability in all that we do. And we try and marry the mission of people, planet, and product, which means we have a completely women-run production team that handcuffs all of our products. We try and use only sustainable ingredients. We're PETA certified, but on track to be Peacock certified. And we have created these new bottleless formats of products that essentially really make it easy and convenient for you to live a more circular life. Super, super grateful for this opportunity to have won this award. It'll go a long way in helping us create more green jobs and continue to innovate and launch even more new products that are pushing the line of innovation.
Today, as Botanic Treasures, we feel our business has been validated. This is a win for the farmers, who are mainly women, who practice trees for nutrition, circular model, and it's based on Moringa agroforestry. It does not compete with the local staples, but replenishes vital nutrients, resulting in a bumper harvest. We provide green technology for post-harvest handling, thereby providing food and income for the community all year round. In Africa, a community raises the child. I say thank you to our able customers. I say thank you to our able partners.
When we think about sustainable, future food tech, and climate-smart businesses, we run to Black Soldier Fly. Zihanga, which means zero hunger, we deal with the bioconversion of over 900 tons of organic waste into impactful products such as frass fertilizer and insect protein. This industry is amazing. It has the ability to employ, regenerate your soil, and also improve on food systems. With these grants, I'll be able to improve on my operations and also reduce the cost of my fertilizer so that we can serve the community with this amazing product.
Enterprises, but as they flow rapidly, I need to read them because they are online, so that at least they will see it, and that's the one I just gave you now. So the runners-up who will be receiving a tailored training for 6 months with a smaller grant. From Botswana, we have Botiana Enterprise, Divine Marula, Kedlifi, Mashmod, and Viva Organica. From Malawi, we have Mundawatu Garden, Green Growth Development, Seed Grow, Cubics Robotics, and Zasolar. From Zambia, we have Curvers Tech, Green Care Eco Solution Limited, Kazenga Agro Solution, Divwane Money Solution, and Virgin Green Renewable Energy Limited. From India, we have Arani Eco Steps, Bintix, Bunko Jonko, Kraste, Ecolastic Products Private Limited, Go Do Good Studio, Mini Mind Clean Tech Solution Private Limited, Not on Map, Relove, Refillable. And from Kenya, we have the BioAfric Energy Limited, CICST, East Africa Industry Limited, EcoRich Solution Limited, Fibertex Green Paper Limited, Green Nettle Textile, Hydro Victoria Fish Hatchery, Mama Toto Cloth Japper Enterprises, Mtaka, Vawoko, and Zuripak. And for all of them, we just want to have a big work of congratulation, and we'll have some word of recognition by the supporter of this group from IKEA Foundation. It's a video message, a short one.
Hi, my name is Ahmed Samah, and I'm a program manager at the Employment and Entrepreneurship portfolio at the IKEA Foundation. And it's a real pleasure to be with you here today through this recorded message. As you know, our current economic systems are damaging the environment and deepening social inequalities. And at the same time, in many countries, there's a severe shortage of work opportunities, with more and more people competing for much fewer jobs. We believe green entrepreneurs have the potential to resolve some of the world's most pressing challenges, including rising unemployment, inequality, mounting environmental pressures. Green entrepreneurs have the power to help build fair, just, and inclusive economies that benefit families, to protect the planet for future generations, people and planet, which is at the heart of the IKEA Foundation strategy. Yet they face multiple barriers to starting and growing their sustainable businesses, which limit their potential to generate income, create jobs for women and young people, and address environmental issues in their community. By supporting green entrepreneurs to turn environmental challenges into business opportunities, we believe that we can move forward toward a green and inclusive local economy that provide sustainable employment for people in vulnerable communities and have a positive lasting impact on our planet. Adelphi and IKEA Foundation are working together to unlock the potential of entrepreneurs to design sustainable businesses and partnerships that foster inclusive and circular economies. We're proud to support the Circular Economy Awards and impressed by the green entrepreneurs that have taken part in this challenge. From recycling lithium-ion batteries, to transforming aquatic weeds into clean energy, to developing eco-packages from banana waste. These models prove that it's possible to turn environmental challenges into new business opportunities that impact people on our planet. Congratulations to all the entrepreneurs for their ideas and for their ventures, and for all the other competing entrepreneurs as well. And we wish you best of luck for the future, the planet and the people need you. Thank you.
Other side of the woods, if
thank you. I'll be very quick. First of all, to all the winners in the award category that we are supporting, the winners from Malawi, Zambia, and Botswana, congratulations. I lived 15 years in Southern Africa, so all of those countries are close to my heart. As I said, climate change is already having sometimes non-reversible effects on our daily lives, especially in vulnerable areas and on vulnerable communities. Adapting to and mitigating the existing effects of climate change are vital to improve the quality of life of people and communities in these situations. Climate change adaptation is a crucial focus from our government. For example, the Flemish Blue Deal we have and the Flemish Climate Adaptation Plan. Thus, we are more than happy to support SEED Climate Adaptation Awards to show our commitment for climate adaptation at an international level. I'm gonna close here. Before you run away, don't run away. I'm gonna ask you to give us a little bit of help, if you can do that, to move your chairs a little bit on the side. We'll bring in some high top tables, and then we'll offer you some lunch. We try to accommodate as many people as possible. I hope everybody of you will find something that you can eat. We try to respect it, but if there's something for one of you that's not there, please accept my apologies. And if you're here in New York, for those who travel, next time don't hesitate to come knock on our door. Thank you. And a big word of thanks to
Thank you very much, Chief. Congratulations to all. And if when you look at that, we give you the QR codes where you have more information on all the enterprises that we have been listing. I keep them here for a while in case you are interested. the PowerPoint will be provided to. Thank you very much. Thank you to the team of Flanders House here for backing up, for the great support. And thanks to my team behind for preparing all this award. It has been a tough work because we received hundreds of applications. So thank you, stay tuned, and next time. Thanks a lot. Thank you for Flanders, Germany, and IKEA. And for all of you.